Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear God, please bless our meeting today. May our discussions be fruitful, our decisions wise, and our community strong. Amen.
Amen.
Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Plechnik.
Present.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Here.
Commissioner Regovich.
Here. Before we begin the public portion, I'd like to invite Job and Family Services Director, Ms. Suzanne Cesar, up to talk about a very important topic.
Thank you, Commissioner Regovich. I have invited our Public Assistance Administrator, Michelle Herron, to speak today about some changes to public assistance benefits that will become effective November 1st. And these changes are unrelated to the government shutdown. She could.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I'm here today to give some updates to our public assistance program, specifically for SNAP and publicly funded childcare. Our division at Job and Family Services oversees SNAP benefits, Medicaid, cash assistance, and publicly funded childcare. So the One Big Beautiful Bill introduced some changes to our SNAP program. While there are several funding changes associated with the program, today I'm just going to address those changes that directly impact SNAP recipients. The bill brings broader work requirements to our SNAP recipients. So work requirements are not new to our SNAP program. So we've always had a 20-hour per week work requirement for specific SNAP recipients. Individuals do meet exemptions from that work requirement through various ways. This is not an inclusive list by any means, but for example, if they are medically unfit for employment. If they are working a job at the equivalent of minimum wage times 30 hours a week, or they may already be participating in a work program such as through unemployment or receiving cash assistance. So there's a handful of other exemptions, but I'd like to focus on the ones that are changing. So first, currently, individuals over the age of 55 do meet an exemption based on age alone and would not be subject to a 20-hour per week work requirement. However, beginning November 1st, individuals age up to 65 may be subject to this work requirement. Second, currently individuals who do have a child under the age of 18 in their SNAP household are not subject to the 20-hour per week work requirement. Beginning November 1st, a parent's exemption is narrowed to and only applies to parents or adults with children under the age of 14 in their SNAP household. And finally, veterans, homeless individuals, and individuals under the age of 25 that aged out of foster care currently meet an exemption, but these individuals will lose that exemption come November 1st. All the individuals that are determined to be required to participate in a work requirement are subject to actually have a job 20 hours a week, participate in community service or volunteer 20 hours a week, or participate in the Lake County SNAP Employment and Training Program. So it's 20 hours a week, 80 hours a month. SNAP benefits are time limited to individuals who are subject to the work requirement when they don't meet that work requirement. So for each month an individual does not meet the 80-hour per week month work requirement, they incur what's called a countable month. After 3 months in a rolling 36-month period, they do lose their SNAP benefits. At Job and Family Services, we will begin screening everybody of any age for our SNAP work requirements. And all newly required individuals will receive notification in January if they are subject to the new work requirement based on the screening. And their first countable month will be incurred in February. The second change that I'll discuss as part of the change from the One Big Beautiful Bill significantly restricts SNAP eligibility for non-citizens. I'll just preface to say that undocumented immigrants have never been eligible to receive SNAP, but previous rules have allowed for certain documented immigrants to be eligible based on their classification code and entry into the United States. I'm going to list off a list of classification codes that have now been determined to be ineligible for SNAP, and these individuals have had their SNAP benefits terminated as of October 31st. So previously, asylees, refugees, and parolees, individuals whose deportation has been withheld, individuals granted conditional entry, American Indians born in Canada, Hmong or Highland Laotian tribe members, individuals qualified under urgent humanitarian reasons, such as survivors of trafficking or domestic violence, Amerasians, and lawful immigrants with a military connection. The following groups of non-citizens remain eligible for SNAP, and obviously that's U.S. citizens. We also have lawful permanent residents, but only after they have lawfully resided in the country for at least a 5-year period, and some Haitian and Cuban nationals with special immigration status. And to close out, I would like to speak to a recent change regarding our publicly funded childcare. This change is a result of the House Bill 96 of the 136th General Assembly, and not a result of the big beautiful bill or the current federal shutdown. When we determine eligibility for publicly funded childcare, we do look at two things. We look if the family is financially eligible, and then we also look at a payment authorization to the childcare provider. And that's based on the number of hours the family, the caretaker, is employed and or going to school. While there's been no change in our determination if a family is eligible for publicly funded childcare, there has been a change in the authorizations. So currently the state of Ohio has 4 authorizations of payment for which they pay childcare providers, and they're paid hourly, part-time rates, full-time rates, or what's called a full-time plus rate. Going forward, effective November 2nd, that full-time plus rate will be eliminated, so we will have 3 categories of authorizations. One of the biggest changes that we're seeing with our families are the people that may have a shift in that part-time to full-time rate care because of the change, because they will receive less hours of care and the payment to the provider is actually decreasing. Families and centers are being notified of the changes through letters and emails, and I do feel that the letters are a little bit misleading to the families because it advises them there's been no change to their eligibility. However, eligibility and authorizations are different. So a family doesn't recognize the difference between eligibility and authorizations, and truthfully, some have become very, very worried. We've also heard from families and providers, some providers do not accept part-time children. So children that are going from a full-time authorization to a part-time, these families might have to be searching for other childcare. It puts a burden on the childcare system for providers. We are encouraging our caretakers, if this affects them, to please reach out to us and provide their current income and work schedule or school schedule so that we can determine that they are getting the hours that they need to fulfill their work and school. They should do this as soon as possible, as we can only make an adjustment to their hours going forward. We cannot retroactively change their authorizations. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question? Mm-hmm. When you talk about the child care provider program, I believe there's a system in the state for, I'm going to call it preschool, right? Where kids before kindergarten, for certain qualifications, are able to go to a center. So it's not just strictly child care, but it also has an educational component to it. Is that this program?
This would not impact that program. So we do determine eligibility for early childhood education. Some are school-based, some are provider-based, but they do not, this doesn't affect that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
One question. With respect to the broader work requirement, I think the acronym is ABOD, able-bodied adults without dependents, now are being required to do 20 hours of work or community service a week. Are we connecting Ohio Means Jobs Lake County with these folks, because there has been a real shortage of people in a lot of Lake County industries. We hear from our manufacturers, our restaurateurs, we can't find people. This seems like a wonderful opportunity to connect jobs with job seekers. So are we actively working to do that?
I agree, yes. So I will say that the program is voluntary, so someone can decide to find work on their own, volunteer on their own. If someone wants to participate in our SNAP Employment and Training Program, we do have staff that are meeting with them and walking them through the best career path and linking them with services.
But are we offering it, or are we making sure they know it's available?
Yes, that would be part of our eligibility process as well.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anything further, Suzanne, would you like to add? Oh, thank you. This brings us to our public portion. Anybody wishing to address the board on agenda items only, please raise your hand. You have 3 minutes after stating your name and address for the record. First public portion is open. Mr. Lima.
Dave Lima, Litchfield Drive, Mentor. Good morning, Commissioners. My comments are related to items 11 and 12 on the agenda. I'm here to urge you to reject the homestead and owner occupancy piggyback provision of House Bill 96. This measure, if adopted, will have serious consequences for public education, especially for Mentor schools. For Mentor, it would reduce property tax revenue by approximately $2.2 million every year. Mentor is already reducing its expenditures by $2 million every year to maintain educational quality, preserve essential programs, and continue to operate in a fiscally responsible manner. An additional $2.2 million reduction in revenue on top of the $2 million planned reduction would create a funding shortfall threatening the entire system. Adoption of this provision would likely result in local homeowners paying for these reductions, creating a heavier tax burden. There's no way to recover the revenue loss but to ask for an increase in local support. HB 96 may provide short-term savings to taxpayers, but it will inevitably lead to future levy requests. Should local taxpayers fail to pass these levies, educational quality and essential programs would be threatened. The dismantling of public education by slowly starving the system of funds necessary to operate is a future I wish, and I hope you wish, to avoid. This provision provides further evidence of the intent at the state level to increase funding for private education while decreasing funding for public education. I ask that you reject the piggyback provision of HB 96 and affirm your support for full and continued public school funding. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to comment on?
Hello, my name is Jamie Schatzman. I am a resident of Eastlake. I live at 35957 Lakeshore Boulevard in Eastlake, and I'm also here representing the Willoughby Eastlake School District. I'm the vice president of the school board and the legislative liaison. And and thank you, commissioners, for letting me be here and speak today. And I might be here surprising you because we're actually supporting the homestead exemption on your agenda today. We have been asking in our school district publicly for targeted relief to seniors and those on a fixed income for an incredibly long time. We have said we are willing to give money back to our community under those circumstances. We want to give it to the people who need it most. This is a lever that we have to do that. Of course, we would love it if it was subsidized by the state or backfilled somehow, but that's just not reality, and we understand that everyone needs to have skin in the game. However, when we look at the owner-occupied relief, it's just simply too small of a percentage spread too thin to make meaningful relief, in our opinion. So if you look at my $100,000 condo, it's less than $1 a week that I'd be getting back. And unfortunately, it's skewed disproportionately. So the people who need it the most are most likely in the least costing homes and then get the least amount of relief. What we are doing in Willoughby Eastlake, open invitation to any or all of you who can attend. I know 2 of you live in our school district, and I appreciate that. We had a meeting last week. It was very short notice on a working group for school funding. We are involving our community. We have another meeting on Thursday, November 20th. We hope you can attend. We are looking for real solutions. We are talking to our community about what things cost, what they want to give up, how we might replace some of these property taxes in real ways that can save the people who need it most real money. And so we're just asking now, this is extremely short notice, we're willing to have skin in the game, but please consider passing just the homestead and not enacting the piggyback on the owner occupied at this time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, this will close the public portion. Madam Clerk, please proceed with resolutions.
In the Utilities Department, resolution approving plan specifications and estimates of cost in the amount of $1,851,890 for Aquarius Raw Water Pump Station Traveling Screens Replacement Project Number 470W 2023, and advertising for the bids for the same, bid opening December 3rd, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Resolution certifying unpaid water and sewer sums and administrative charges to the Lake County Auditor.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
In Job and Family Services Department, resolution approving Lake County Department of Job and Family Services vouchers, date of warrant November 7th, 2025, in the amount of $73,707.65.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
In the Commissioner's Office, resolution establishing the Lake County employee's share of the monthly premium for medical and dental insurance coverage effective January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Resolution establishing the monthly premiums for medical and dental insurance coverage for sub-government entities participating in the county employee health plans effective January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Resolution reappointing Arthur Q. Lindros to the Lake Development Authority Board of Directors for a 4-year term commencing January 1st, 2026 and ending December 31st, 2029.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Mr. President.
Yes.
I would just reiterate our thanks to Art Lindrose and Bill Martin for their willingness to continue to serve on such an important board for the county. The Lake Development Authority is our economic development arm, and that's why Lake County is growing, not just in population, but really in exponential growth in economic activity and new businesses. LDA is doing an incredible job, and we're very grateful to the director, Patrick Mahorsic, and his board, in particular Art Lindrose and Bill Martin.
I 100% agree. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Resolution reappointing Bill Martin to the Lake Development Authority Board of Directors for a 4-year term commencing January 1st, 2026 and ending December 31st, 2029.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Resolution reappointing Joseph Gibson to the Lake County Board of Developmental Disabilities for a 4-year term commencing with the annual organizational meeting in January 2026.
So moved.
Second.
And discussion, I believe Jason's going to speak to this.
Yeah, Elfie Roman from DD could not be here today, but I know she typically likes to attend these meetings to thank the commissioners for the reappointments that are in front of you today. So on behalf of Elfie and DD, I just want to pass along her gratitude. Thank you.
And Mr. President, I would follow along with our county administrator by saying we thank the Honorable Judge Gibson, Kimberly Stanger of our prosecutor's office, and Fred Tuff for their continued service. Deepwood is a very important organization in our community, and we're grateful that they serve as stewards for it.
Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Resolution reappointing Kimberly Stanger to the Lake County Board of Developmental Disabilities for a 4-year term commencing with the annual organizational meeting in January 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Resolution reappointing Fred A. Tuff to the Lake County Board of Developmental Disabilities for a 4-year term commencing with the annual organizational meeting in January 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Resolution to adopt a local optional homestead tax exemption in Lake County, Ohio.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. President,
Yes.
it is so important that this commission and every public body, all the way from city council and school board to our state legislature, look more seriously at the issue of property tax relief. In the last couple of years, we haven't seen a property tax hike, we've seen a tax explosion. And our seniors on a fixed income are those who've been hurt the most, but all homeowners have been hurt by this drastic unvoted increase in property taxes. And it pains me to say, but the powers that be have to have known that this was coming. We all know that property tax values under current law go up with inflation, and we all know that we've experienced the highest inflation in my lifetime in the last 40-some years. So we knew that there was going to be double-digit increases in property tax values and ultimately in property tax bills. And the reality is, our folks just can't afford it anymore. It's been said the rent is too damn high. Well, the property taxes are too damn high. And by the way, rent is so high precisely because landlords are passing on costs of property taxes to our tenants. So whether you rent or you own, everyone's been hit by this crisis. I wish that we had the power to give a 100% property tax exemption for our seniors. 65 years of paying taxes, enough is enough. But we have to work with the tools that the state legislature have given us. We don't have that power. We only have the ability to double the homestead exemption, which on average gives $400 or $500 per person today. And if we double it, it would be another $400 or $500 to folks making less than $40,000 a year. These are seniors who are, in many cases, desperately poor and are deciding between their medication, their food, or whether they pay their taxes and lose their home. And that is not a place where any of us should be. Any of us should be. Our golden years should be a time for celebration with our family, not a time to wring out every penny to try to find a way to stay in your home. And the cold-hearted folks who say, just sell your home, you can't afford it, rent an apartment, are not thinking about the reality that seniors who are forced to move away from their support networks very often don't live very long after they move away from their family and their neighbors and the people who help to take care of them. It is not right and it is not fair. I agree with the sentiment that the state should be picking up this tab, and it's outrageous that the state of Ohio has not taken its responsibility under Article 6, Section 2 of the Ohio Constitution seriously to fully fund our public schools. That is not right, and that needs to change. It's not just a moral obligation, it's a constitutional obligation. And if you can't uphold the Constitution, why are you there? But once again, we are creatures of the state, as our prosecutor's office reminds us. We operate under statute. We don't write the law, we operate underneath it. And this is the toolkit we've been given. This is the means of relief we've been given to help our seniors. So I wish that we were voting today on a 100% property tax exemption for our seniors. What we have in front of us is the ability to double the homestead exemption for those seniors most in need. And this small gesture I am in such favor of. I would also point out that passing both the homestead exemption and the owner-occupied tax credit, the doubling, the piggyback as it's come to be known, will result in an all budget reduction on average to every taxing authority in Lake County, including Lake County proper, which is us, of about 1.5%. This is eminently doable for Lake County, for every school district, and for every taxing authority. It's eminently doable. An entity that cannot deal with plus minus 1.5% doesn't know how to budget. And if this is the first wake-up call that a couple of taxing authorities need, that they have to start having a range of budget numbers so that they know how to budget, then this will be a very valuable planning experience for those boards or councils. And I welcome that. I actually think that's a good side effect of this, because if you truly cannot absorb a 1.5% hit to your budget, you're pretty much bankrupt. And that is unacceptable for us taxpayers. And I want to close in saying this. When the property tax bills went out, from an average property tax value increase of 30% for Lake County residents, which resulted in an average property tax bill increase of 15%, not 1.5, 10 times that amount, 15%. Not a single taxing authority went to our neighbors and our taxpayers and said, how are you going to pay for a 15% hit to your budget? So I think when the taxpayer looks at the situation and hears, I've been asked for 15% more and I'm getting a refund of 1.5%, they feel like they've been robbed by 13.5%, and rightly so. This is the smallest relief that we can give, and I only wish we had the authority to do more. I want to let every taxpayer in Lake County know we're not done fighting, but we're going to do everything we can, and this is a start.
Mr. President, I want to read this first to establish where I started looking at this issue from. As we talk about property tax reform, I've heard it said before, you cannot have property tax reform without having school funding reform. And Commissioner Pleshnik referenced the Ohio Constitution, Article 6, Section 2, which reads, I pulled this up on a website that says Ohio laws, and it's got a pretty seal. I assume it's close to accurate. If it's not, please do not hold that against me. But it says, the General Assembly shall make such provisions by taxation or otherwise as, with the income arising from the school trust fund, will secure a thorough and efficient system of common schools throughout the state. But no religious or other sect or sects shall ever have any exclusive right to or control of any part of the school funds of this state. I say that because I'm not here to debate my faith or my religion. And if anybody would like to have a conversation in public, I'm more than happy to have that talk. But I wholeheartedly disagree with the voucher system that has been established in this state that steers $1 billion this year towards private schools, some religious, some not. But those schools, as I've been informed, do not have the same requirements of their teachers, of their curriculum, or of their structure as a public school does. And so any conversations that involve test scores or comparisons between those two systems is inappropriate, because you cannot put handcuffs on one system and expect them to compete with the other system. And so the problem with these decisions today is that the majority of our local property tax dollars go towards our schools. We have a very nice county. The last workshop session we had somebody say, are we that naive to think that Lake County is different? Yes, I am that naive that thinks Lake County is special and different. We respect our education here. We support our education here. But the facts remain that we built a spreadsheet that outlines, we asked all the taxing entities to bring this information into us. This is their information that they've provided to us. And that spreadsheet showed me that in 2024, I believe we're collecting $437 million of property taxes locally. Over $250 million goes towards the schools. And we collect in total just under $1.1 billion across all funding sources: property tax, sales tax, income tax, reimbursements from the state for the homestead and the owner occupancy now, as well as federal state funding and some other stuff. So what I'm saying is over 40%, approximately 44% of the local revenues are generated from property taxes. And so we have heard you, I have heard folks loud and clear that this is not the best situation. This is not the ideal way of doing this. Now, with that said, I do want local control over my schools. I don't want whatever basic system the state's going to roll out. I am the type of elected official that does believe in having some local control over something and not turning everything over to Columbus to dictate how our educational systems are managed. So I am not in favor of eliminating all property taxes, because that mechanism is what is currently presented to us to allow us to have better schools, to have better police and fire, to have better library systems. But something has to be addressed. And the taxes that were $437 million last year have gone up to $489 million this year. That's a $52 million increase. If we adopt both of these provisions, it's going to be a total of around $14 million. So it is less than a third of the increase that was received countywide. Now, once again, we do not have the ability to backfill. So anybody out there saying that the county could just go ahead and pay for this is lying to you. Second, we do not have the ability to pick and choose. I can tell you right now that on a percentage basis, one of the departments and or taxing entities that gets probably hurt the most is the Perry Joint Fire District. Well, I live in Perry. I don't have the ability to pick and choose what we do here. It has to be done across the county, or it's not going to be done across the county. And when you look at the numbers, as Commissioner Pleshnik spoke about, on average, the schools, not everybody, on average, the schools are going to be having about a 3% reduction in their property taxes and about a 1.5% reduction in their overall budgets. I did not run for commissioner to be able to alter the budgets of the school districts or anybody else. But unfortunately, that is the responsibility that the state has decided that they didn't want to be responsible for or take the leadership for, and so therefore it falls to us. I have been asked to wait. I have been asked to wait to see what Columbus does. I am relatively new to politics, and I refuse to sit idly while I wait for Columbus or others to take action and show leadership. And so I assure you, 1,000 ideas on how we can help and not reduce services, but also make efficiencies through not only our government, but helping with the schools and other taxing entities. And if the county at large doesn't think that I've already started to have some uncomfortable conversations with Mr. DeMar and Mr. Boyd and other folks up and down the county government system here with regards to property taxes that are collected, with regards to, hey, can we do this more efficiency? And the conversation always starts like this. Can we keep the service level where it is? Because I do think Lake County is special, but yet find efficiencies. And the answer is typically yes. And I've spoke with folks in the education arena, in finance in the education arena, and they said, yeah, can we do better? Sure. Is this going to be an adjustment? Sure. But I think it's why I ran. It's the campaign I ran on, and I don't know the other school board officials and county or city council members and this and that, but I feel that the voters have asked us to start to take a look at this and to start to come up with a better system. It is flawed and it is broken at the state level. I am a county commissioner. I do not dictate to the state how they handle their business, but I can be an advocate. And Commissioner Regovich and I had an opportunity to go down to Columbus earlier this month. The message was loud and clear on two fronts. When it comes to property tax reform, the state feels that they are going to close some loopholes, fix some structural issues, and then turn it over to us at the local level to figure it out. They're not coming to the rescue, is what we were told loud and clear. That's fine. Then we'll do what we need to do at a local level. Number two, they want to see the counties using the tools that they've given us. And as minor and as minimal as this tool is, it is the only tool that the county commissioners have been provided to address this issue. Once again, property taxes went up by $52 million countywide. This is only going to address $14 million of that. I could go on and on and on, except to say this. That $14 million is going to be given back to homeowners and seniors on a limited income, not businesses, not an energy bill that's going to reduce the local property taxes paid by energy companies, not any business. I own a business. I'm a pro-business guy. I get it. But as I've been informed, the property tax burden shift in this state over the last 30, 40 years has gone from businesses paying 60% and residents paying 40% to flip that now where residents are paying 60% and businesses are paying 40%. The amount of money spent by the school districts and the system by the state as a percentage has gone down and down and down. It is being put, when they quote the numbers on, oh my, we're spending so much more money on education and we're not getting results, they're not spending anything. They're not keeping up with inflation. And I have the data to prove that too. The money is coming on the backs of the local property taxpayers. This provision is insulting to the people in its just minimal impact, but it is going to homeowners and seniors on a fixed income or on an income below a certain threshold. It is not enough, but it is the only thing that we have to do. It is the only tool we have. It is the decision that I have to make today with the current information I am given. I was given information yesterday that found out that there's a Senate provision that's going to change what I thought was going to happen on this. They are constantly moving the ground beneath our feet, and yet we have a deadline of tomorrow to make this decision. This is the decision that I'm going to make for this year when I vote. That doesn't not mean it's going to be the decision I make for next year. If things change, we have to come back here by June 30th to pass another one of these resolutions if we want to adopt it then. And if things change, I will be one of the first people to go out and be public and vocal and say, the system has changed, things have changed, further property tax relief was given, we don't need to do this. But for my stance at this point, at this time, I am probably going to be, I will be in support of both of these provisions.
Thank you. We hear on a daily basis from homeowners that the unprecedented increase in property tax, over 30% on average, I think, in Lake County, is significantly changing lives. Take that with the cost of inflation, what we pay at the grocery store, people's income is not going as far, and we see it nationwide. Credit card debt is up, and all those kind of things that we don't want to see as a community or a country. We, as Commissioner Beveridge said, are asked by the state to do this in a short amount of time. They passed it, and then after 90 days, brought us to the end of last month. So we had from October 1st to pass it by October 31st. We look here every day how we can improve efficiencies, how we can take and combine services, do things like that. We will continue to do that. I'm pretty impressed in some of the things we have done. We have a lot of ideas. When Commissioner Beveridge says he has 1,000 ideas, that's probably this week alone. But we look at all those ideas. Sometimes they're hard to do, but that's okay. We'll dive down and try and do that. And schools is number one on our mind. We know that affects them the most, and that's because they get the most from property tax. So we like to have the best school systems that we can offer. I went to public school. My kids went to public school. My whole family pretty much are public school people, and all very successful in my eyes. I have brothers doing some good things. So it's a difficult process to go through this, but we have to make that decision. We know what the homeowner wants, and at the end of the day, we're here to represent all the homeowners and all the taxpayers of this county. I want to clear up a few things that I've heard this week after our meeting on Monday. I heard on a meeting in another local entity that we're balancing the budget on the backs of local entities, that the county's balancing. We're voting, if we vote this through, we're voting our own tax cut. We're voting our own cut in income here. So that is not true. We don't make out more at the county level. We're going to do with less also. So that's an untrue statement that I've heard. So I don't know who's putting, or if they don't understand how it all works. And it can be very difficult at times. I'd be willing to bet a lot of homeowners don't understand their own property tax and how it's done, inside millage, outside millage, and all those kind of things. So we have to take action here today. It's the last day that we can do it, and this is what the state has given us to do. Is it ideal for everybody? Probably not. But if this gets us thinking on how we do taxation moving forward, I think we can take that as a positive and look at different ways. So if it's coming off property tax and doing income tax or sales tax, we have to look at those different things moving forward. So we're here to keep this county in the best shape that we can and try and help out as much as we can. I feel we've done that to the best of our ability to this point, and we will continue to do that. So there's no further comment. Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Resolution to adopt a local optional owner-occupied tax exemption in Lake County, Ohio.
So moved.
Second.
Any more discussion? Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
In the Finance Department, resolution approving payment of bills as listed on the Commissioner's Approval Journal in the amount of $1,111,642.86.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Resolution approving payment of bills to CT Consultants Incorporated as listed on the Commissioner's Approval Journal in the amount of $25,378.63.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye.
Commissioner Regovich.
Abstain.
Resolution approving purchase orders as listed on the Commissioner's Purchase Order Approval Journal in the amount of $881,365.74.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Resolution increasing and decreasing appropriations through various non-general fund accounts.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Resolution transferring cash and appropriations within various general and non-general fund accounts.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Beveridge.
Aye.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes. This brings us to our departmental reports. Utilities.
No report, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I think it's important for the Department of Utilities to give an update on the rain event and the flooding situation in Fairport Harbor, Paynesville Township, and other locations in Lake County.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, as we all know, last week we sustained heavy rains throughout Lake County, specifically the closest rain gauge in the vicinity of Paynesville Township was at the landfill. We had roughly 8.5 inches of rainfall in a very short period of time, I would say within 10 hours. Our crews were mobilized, they were prepared, they were all tanking throughout that day to minimize the heavy rains that fell. There were certainly customers who experienced flooding, and we encouraged those residents to contact us. We did what we could to guide them through the process of filing claims and providing assistance. Since then, and certainly given the rainfall today, I spoke with our collections crews managers yesterday, and we were again mobilized. We've been tanking all day. Today we haven't had any issues, but we certainly remain vigilant. We certainly remain available to minimize any undue impact to the residents of Lake County, and we'll continue to do so.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, man, I think it's important to note the amount of rain, and this goes back to my mayor days and someone whose basement is flooded, is, you know, I think a lot of people compared it to 2006. It was even greater than that, and the fact that it was coming off the lake in strands, because I know the rain gauges in Willowick, where I live, was less than an inch, 0.9. And then we had nine plus inches in a short amount of time.
That's correct, and there were several areas where there were what I would call microbursts of rain. In particular, I would say, to put things in perspective, specifically I'll talk about certain areas of Paynesville Township. We received roughly like 250,000 gallons of rain that fell per acre in certain areas. So that means over 47 million gallons of rain fell in certain subdivisions. So when we think about that amount of rain in such a short period of time, we have to consider whether or not our department and the infrastructure we maintained sustained any mechanical failures, or if this was, by virtue of the copious amounts of rain, something that we were working and battling against. The good news is our systems did not sustain any mechanical failures. There were no obstructions. We were faced with torrential downpours, again, in a short period of time. So as I stated earlier, and I'll reiterate, our department does what it can. We are ever vigilant. We're working very hard to ensure that residents do not sustain any undue impact. And as you said, Commissioner Regovich, sometimes we're faced with situations that are out of our control. But we will always act accordingly, and we will always be responsive to the needs of our constituents.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I just wanted to commend and say job well done to the Utilities Department up and down. As you said, the systems continue to work properly. And even with that type of an event, this wasn't a systemic failure. It's just, it rains. Now, it doesn't rain this much all the time. But as we've had conversations about this, you know, if you build a system that will never flood, you may not like the price tag, right? And you build systems so that it'll handle 6 inches of rain. But if you build it to handle 6 inches of rain, well, then if you have 7 inches of rain, you're flooding. And if you build it to handle 8 inches of rain and you get 8.5, you're flooding. And if you build it to handle 9, then the storm that we got back in 2006, where there was over 10 or 11 inches of rain, you will flood. And so, unfortunately, if these type of storms, now, if over the next 50 years we start getting 8-inch rainstorms once every other year, then folks are going to have a tough conversation about, all right, what kind of system do we want? But I think that the department has done an admirable job of maintaining the systems and making sure that this isn't a structural issue. This isn't a systems issue. It's just that we do not and will never control Mother Nature. And if we get that type of rainfall in that period of time, then unfortunately the system will be overwhelmed. And I just want to say thank you to the work that everybody's doing to try their best to help the residents that are affected. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I would like to add too, I'd also like to pay accolades to our staff. When we have these situations, as I stated, they're very responsive. They do work around the clock, and it's important for me to recognize their hard work too. So they represent the great face of our department. So thank you very much.
Yeah, when we came in last Thursday morning and got our briefing on it, we were told our folks have been out all night. You know, they've been dealing with this all night. They've been monitoring the situation. Those are the wonderful individuals that get the call in the middle of the night that says, we need you to go to work because streets are flooding. So yes, ditto.
Thank you.
Thank you. Job and Family Services.
Thank you, Commissioner. As you know, I have been updating the board for the last several weeks about SNAP benefits and the impact that the government shutdown will have on those benefits after October 31st. We have recently learned that SNAP benefits for the month of November will not be issued at this time because of the government shutdown. To put that in perspective, that is about 17,141 individuals in Lake County who currently receive SNAP benefits. Of those, 6,200 are children under the age of 18, and 2,510 of those are seniors age 65 and over. I have been working very closely with Lifeline and the United Way of Lake County. I thank them very much for their assistance. Since we received official word that SNAP benefits were not going out, they have been mobilizing crews to increase food distributions, food collections, posting on social media to alert our members of the community that SNAP benefits will not be available come November 1st. I would encourage members of the public to call 211 if they are in need of food assistance. That is the best and most reliable resource for individuals to learn if food pantries are stocked, where food distributions are going to be held throughout the county, and where community hot meals are going to be held. Commissioner Beveridge, you mentioned earlier that you believe Lake County is a special place. I would agree with you, especially over these last couple weeks, to see how the community is coming together to try and support our individuals who receive SNAP benefits. So again, I just want to reiterate to the public, please call 211 if you are in need of resources. We are going to continue to update the public via our website, as well as put information out in our lobbies so that the public continues to be aware of what will happen next.
I would just like to thank you and your staff and United Way. We think we deal with changes a lot, but you have this coming on the horizon on top of Lord knows what cuts are going to be coming from the federal after this is over. We don't know how long it's going to last. And you probably wake up every morning and let's see what I have today. So the way you handle it and the way your team handles it, we appreciate that so much. United Way and all the other nonprofits here are such a big help in Lake County. So I agree with you that I think this is what makes part of that part of Lake County pretty special.
Mr. President,
Yes.
a couple weeks ago, I was actually going to say something to the effect of, does anybody else notice that there's a federal government shutdown? I really haven't noticed it much at all. It's kind of a who cares, which should probably be a wake-up call to Washington, that whether or not we need them constantly running and ruling our lives is up for debate, in my opinion. And then this situation comes around where the games played by all members of Congress and the Senate and everybody else inside that DC beltway that plays those games have real impact in my county and in my community. And if they don't have an interest in doing their jobs, then I'm more than happy to stop sending 20, 30% of my income down to DC. I'd rather pay a local tax here. And so that we can make sure that these services are still being provided to the folks here. So I also want to commend you on, as Commissioner Regovich said, on the unfortunate work and chaos in your life. Not only are you dealing with this, but the motion that we just passed today is going to affect your JFS property tax levy. And that, unfortunately, is the no-win situation that sometimes elected officials and leaders get put in, and that's fine. We signed up for this. But I want to say thank you for the hard work that you and your team do, because I don't know that you did sign up for this. But I appreciate the information that you provide us so that we can make informed decisions, and the work that you do in the community and that impact. And the last thing I want to touch on that Commissioner Regovich did was I am an obnoxious supporter of the United Way of Lake County. Dare I say obnoxious. And this is one of those times where their food coalition of the 40-plus food banks that we have across this county, which should tell you the need that's in the community for this. But this is one of those times where I'm thankful to have that organization in my county. And I salute them as well, and will continue to be an obnoxious supporter of theirs and yours. So thank you.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I would just make the note that Director Suzanne Kasar was hired by the county shortly before I started, so I can take no credit for the wise decision of hiring her. But former Commissioner Jason Wooliger, if he did one super impactful thing in his short time for the county, it was to interview and to recommend Suzanne. I think for that alone, Jason will be remembered as a great commissioner because he made such an excellent selection for Job and Family Services.
County Administrator.
Yeah, good morning, Commissioners. To follow up with Suzanne, I have a contract here today that I'll sign. I was just talking to Mr. Hackman about $20,000 for the United Way. I know it's a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money to assist in their food efforts if some of these banks go low. From a distribution standpoint, the United Way will have the ability, and I'm sure we can find more if needed, speaking for you, I suppose, to supplement the need in the community with the United Way and 211 kind of being the clearinghouse. So I will sign that as soon as we're done today. Thanks to Rhea and Dion from the United Way we talked about this yesterday. Contract was here, Dave approved it, so we'll have a little bit of resources to help replenish when identified to help out with what's going on in our community. So thanks Suzanne and United Way, Lifeline, et cetera, for that. So that concludes my report.
Does Dave have a fancy logo?
Mr. President,
Yes.
I just want to say thanks to our County Administrator Jason Boyd for being proactive about this. The county has always tried to participate where we can to facilitate food distributions for those in need. I think one of the most impactful CDBG grants we've made over the years was to buy a new freezer for Willow Praise Church's distributions through the Cleveland Food Bank. So strategically, where we have the opportunity, we've always tried to be able to supplement that network because there is a great need.
Mr. President. Suzanne, I don't know if you have this number, but if you could, I'm curious, what is the monthly financial impact by not having SNAP benefits? I know we've talked about statewide, but I didn't know here in Lake County, do we have a dollar figure associated with that loss?
Here in Lake County, it is currently $1.7 million that is distributed every month in SNAP benefits, just for Lake County alone. And in Lake County, SNAP benefits are staggered throughout the month. So from the 2nd of each month until the 20th of each month, households are getting their SNAP benefits. So beginning November 2nd, every 2 days, 900 households will be impacted every 2 days because of this.
Thank you.
And, I think if this continues for a long time, we'll help put the word out through United Way for local, that everyone has to fill the cruiser, fill the bus. We could probably do more on that end too. I think the people of Lake County are traditionally in left up pitching where they can. I, for one, wouldn't mind doing that, so, yes. Okay, Madam Clerk.
Yes, I wanted to mention that tomorrow is Halloween, so please watch out for trick-or-treaters out there tomorrow night. Exercise caution. And also this weekend is daylight savings time. It ends, so turn that clock back an hour, and that's all. Oh, and the next meeting is Thursday, November 6th, 10 a.m.
And we have a workshop after this, right? Legal. Thank you. Gentlemen, is there any old business to come before us? Is there any new business?
Mr. President,
Yes.
I would just join Madam Clerk in saying Happy Halloween. I actually got to see Willaboo for the very first time in downtown Willoughby as I came home last night, which is a little early trick-or-treating. So it's great to see the county celebrate, and we certainly wish everyone a safe and happy Halloween.
I don't suspect you'll get too many trick-or-treaters.
No, I'm on the third floor. It'd be hard to climb up that high.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn. There will be a workshop beginning at 10:30. Since it's way past that, we'll probably start within a minute or two after.
So moved.
Second,
Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Plechnik,
yes.
Commissioner Beveridge,
Aye.
Commissioner Regovich.
Aye.